Well, it looks like Carmelo Anthony is going to sign with the Houston Rockets. And Carmelo, for most of his career, this guy has been getting his way. And, you know, he does work hard, but, you know, it's always been a question, is he really about winning? And we could take it back to the Denver scenario with the New York Knicks. As the Knicks were trying to get Carmelo, and he expressed he wanted to go there. And he was on a team where he led them to the playoffs for the first time ever in a while. He was their leading scorer. He did go to the Western Conference against Kobe. I mean, he was battling and beasting the first couple years he was in the league. But at the end of the day, we have to question, does Melo really want to win? I mean, George Karl was his coach the first 7 years in Denver, and he did say Melo had a thing where he cared about his brand more than his than winning. Just period. And it kind of showed that when he went to the Knicks. You know, for those of you who don't know, who's not a heart, you know, don't really keep up with the Knicks. As soon as Carmelo went to the Knicks, his wife had a TV show on VH1 instantly. You know, and I really believe the New York Knicks fans, unfortunately, because we haven't had a legit star in a while until Melo showed up, we got bamboozled. We got bamboozled by Melo and his wife. They basically branded themselves to get a spotlight. Basically, you know, LeBron was leaping Carmelo as far as achievements. Wade won a championship in 2006. And Carmelo, basically him coming to New York made him relevant. And, you know, the question is, when he came here, he probably assumed the Knicks were going to try to put a good effort to win, but he didn't think it was going to turn out that bad. Well, you know, the coaching changes, the player changes. But once again, Melo did have a chance to not sign with the Knicks when he was an unrestricted free agent. He wanted to go around. He was taking flights here and there. You know, he liked the look of it. He always said that, you know, he didn't really want to leave the Knicks, but he liked the feeling of being wanted. That's why he flew to Chicago. He flew to LA. You know, this guy, once again, this could be a branding thing. And, you know, like I said, like George Karl said, you know, this guy had an issue where it was kind of like his brand over his game. And he kept referring to himself as a businessman when he was out in New York. And it was just like, it seemed like basketball was never first. But, you know, like him coming to New York did open up a lot of doors for him. But at the end of the day, was he about winning in 2014? He did re-sign with the Knicks again after we really had no pieces and no cap space. Amari was hurt. You know, everybody was shocked, you know, that Melo was still here. Phil Jackson didn't even express that he really wanted to keep Melo. But once again, Melo got his way, got his money, and he didn't look like the bad guy. And, you know, I'm going to rewind it back a little bit. Melo, after Dwayne Wade and LeBron, they didn't sign any extension to remain on their teams. But Carmelo did. And apparently in Miami, it was supposed to be Wade, LeBron, and Carmelo. Instead, you know, it was Bosh who opted out of his deal. But Carmelo opted in for the money. Once again, another choice, where, you know, another decision where Carmelo chose money over potentially winning. Because definitely when LeBron, Wade, and Bosh went to Miami, they all took a pay cut. And you see, going forward again, back to the scenario back in 2014, when Melo was in New York, he had the chance to leave. But the other scenarios was for him to go to Chicago, take less money. He could have went to LA, but Kobe had the spotlight. See, there's that branding situation again. He's got to be the premier guy. And then now, he stayed in New York the whole time. We weren't winning because obviously we didn't have enough pieces. And then Melo, for some reason, one season, he had a shoulder problem. He didn't play games here and there, and then the Knicks were playing in London. A London game came their way, and Melo all of a sudden was good to play that game. He didn't do anything. Kind of, you know, the Knicks got blown out by like the first 2 quarters against Detroit. And then Melo, once again, the very next game, sat out. Then when the All-Star break came around, Melo was good to play in the game. And then after the All-Star game, the very next day, Melo was shut down for the rest of the year. That's another example of the branding situation. Oh, Melo, the All-Star, you know what I mean? Like, he likes that type of image, but that season, he was nothing like an All-Star. And, you know, Melo's decline really started back in like 2015, 2014. Once that shoulder injury came around, he was looking a lot slower. You know, he wasn't as efficient. But once again, you know, he had the ultimate deal on the table. No trade clause. He had a max deal. Once again, Melo still got his way. And he didn't look like the bad guy because he looked like the guy that was staying loyal to New York. But he still had the spotlight, the opportunity, the business opportunities from being in New York. And then the Knicks shipped him out to OKC, which he agreed to because OKC actually had Paul George and they had, you know, the reigning MVP Russell Westbrook, which is a good scenario to go after a championship. But, you know, it ended up not working out because Melo was Melo. He's very inefficient. You know, he became inefficient. But really, was Melo really that much of an efficient offensive player? His highest career shooting percentage was 46%. So, you know that percentage means less when you have the type of defense that he has. It's not spectacular. And then how many shots has he missed? He's a volume shooter. And then also, how many turnovers does he have? You know what I mean? All those things factor in. Melo's 20 points a game it's not even a factor anymore. It's like it doesn't have any effect on the outcome of the game as far as your team winning. So, and another issue Melo had with the Knicks was the coaching, Mike D'Antoni. And now, you know, before Melo came to the Knicks were moving the ball nonstop. They had pieces, you know, Wilson Chandler, Gallinari. They weren't like the championship team, but they were definitely moving the ball and playing exciting basketball. As soon as Melo came, he did not fit into that D'Antoni system. And then, of course, he got D'Antoni knocked out of there, man. He got D'Antoni kicked out. So, but now, you know, apparently he's going to Houston, and all of a sudden this D'Antoni situation is supposed to work out. I don't know. It sounds funny to me, but, you know, going back to Melo with being on the Knicks at the very end, he did get shipped out to OKC. That situation over there, Russell Westbrook dominates the ball. Paul George is good with being the number 1B. Carmelo just defensively was bad, man. OKC got a lot of big men and a lot of good defensive players, but to really like cover Carmelo's like, you know, lack of defensive skill set right now, they got a lot of players to help out to cover him up. Basically, like if Melo doesn't play good D, they got Adams to cover up Melo. They got what's Robinson? What's that shooting guard that they got that never scores any points, but he's really good. They got a lot of guys to cover up Melo. So even though they got guys to cover up Melo, OKC still struggled heavily. But once again, Melo still got his way because he got big checks coming his way. No trade clause still. And, you know, and he has the opportunity to opt in or opt out. So everything, once again, is on Melo. So now, Melo, you know, he gets shipped to Atlanta. And he opts in, gets shipped out to Atlanta. They buy him out, give him his money either in the future pay, or give it to him up front. I don't know what was the details of the deal, but either way, he's getting that 28 mil or 30 mil or however how much it was. But now, Melo's still getting his way because now he's going to the team he originally wanted to get traded to when he was on the Knicks, Houston. But the problem with Houston now is that Mike D'Antoni is the coach, which he had issues with the Knicks around 2011, 2012. So we're going to see how this plays out. Melo's still getting his way, man. He's getting his money. He has a chance to compete for a championship. But that Houston team is not better than what it was last year. They lost some guys. They are not better than what they were last year. But, you know, Carmelo Anthony's basically Glen Robinson in that 2K game that came out like around the Allen Iverson era. Where there was a 2K game, this guy, Glen Robinson, he was kind of overweight. He looked slow, but he had like a 87 ranking. He had like a high 80s ranking, almost 90. He had like an all-star ranking. And you always ask yourself, why does this guy have an all-star ranking? He doesn't do anything. Like, you play with him in 2K, he was slow, his shot looked weird. That's Melo right now. Melo is Glen Robinson from the 76ers. Look him up. That guy had a pretty solid career, but if you looked at him in the picture, you'd be like, oh, doesn't look like an all-star player. That's Melo right now. So other than that, good luck to Houston. We all know what the situation is going to be. Melo could drop 15 points off the bench playing like 25 to 30 minutes. It's not going to have any effect on the outcome of the game. None at all. I mean, you factor in the lack of defense, the turnover ratio. Melo can't even finish at the rim anymore. This guy is like gathering himself back every time. Like, his first step is still pretty good, but by the time he gets past the defender, he has to gather himself up again. It's over, man. Like, honestly, we could be looking at the last like year of Carmelo Anthony being in the NBA. I doubt anyone else was really interested like that. But, you know, like I said, for my Knicks fans, Carmelo Anthony and his wife Lala, they kind of bamboozled the Knicks. And James Dolan was part of it too. They needed ratings. They needed to sell tickets. They haven't had stars in years. They knew they wasn't doing shit. At the end of the day, this guy cared about his brand and his money. He has a big-ass office in Williamsburg talking about my brand. I'm the businessman, Melo. He was mad his son called him a basketball player at school. He was like, no, I'm the businessman. Well, man, we're going to see how that business is cooking up in Houston. Because this could be it for Melo. But till then, man, y'all stay safe. Let me know what y'all think about Melo. Leave some comments below. This guy he definitely has a Hall of Fame career. But at the end of the day, it's like, damn, man, we never seen you at that level, man, in the playoffs. We only seen it one time against Kobe in the Western Conference Finals. But that was years ago. And who would have ever known that's basically Melo's peak in the NBA right now. As a leader, bringing a team deep into the playoffs, that's Melo's peak. And that was like almost 10 years ago. So let me know what y'all think. Y'all stay safe. Peace.